Alright, so we are going to question 3. We are skipping question 2 and we go to question 3. We'll come back to question 2 because of how I wanted to link up with the questions. So question 3, the requirement A, we said they are saying we should what? Estimate the value of COINCO using the price earnings ratio and discuss the usefulness of the variables that you have used. So we are going to, so that's under business valuation, and using PE ratio, the value of the company is equal to what? The PE ratio times earnings per share. Now this is value per share. Okay, that's value per share concept. If it is not value per share and the value of the whole company, then it will be PE ratio times what? Total earnings. Okay. II says, or B says, calculate the current cost of equity of COINCO, and using this value, calculate the value of the company using what? Dividend valuation model. So first, we are using PE ratio to value the business. Second, we are going to use dividend valuation model to value the business. Now, when we are using dividend valuation model to value the business, what is the formula? PO equals DO over what? KE. This is when dividend is not what? Growing. But if dividend is growing, then PO equals DO out 1 plus J over KE minus J. Am I right? So if dividend is growing, we use this formula. If dividend is constant, we use this formula. Now, we don't know what is happening in the question, but since I'm discussing, that's why I'm bringing it up. Then C. C says, calculate the current WACC after tax cost of capital of COINCO and the weighted average after tax cost of capital following what? The debt equity. So, C, we are going to be calculating WACC. And you know WACC is what? VE over VE plus VD times KE plus VD over VE plus VD times what? KD. My space is adjusted there. Now we are going to calculate two different WACCs in the C. We are told to calculate the current WACC and then the WACC after the new debt issue. So these are the three things we're going to be doing in this very question. So this question actually combined business valuation with what? Cost of capital. Very important. So let's now go back to the question and let's read the preambles from the question. 1. Or let's go. COINCO is a company that is listed on a major stock exchange. Okay. The first thing you have to understand is this. The company under consideration that we're talking about, COINCO, is listed. Now, if they are listed, that means they can have their own PE ratio. True or false? If they are listed, then they can have their own PE ratio. That means there is no need for us to adjust depending on a factor. Are you getting the idea? Because I saw you adjusting. But we'll come back to that. So let's continue. The company has struggled to maintain profitability in the last 2 years due to poor economic condition in its home country. And as a consequence, it has decided not to pay dividend in the current year. However, there are now clear signs of economic recovery, and COINCO is optimistic that payment of dividend can be resumed in the future. Forecast financial information related to the company is as follows. Okay, so where is the current year? Year 1 is the current year. We have 2 and 3. The company is optimistic that earnings and dividend will increase after year 3 at a constant annual rate of what? So listen carefully, listen carefully. So the dividend is growing, the dividend and the earnings is growing. So the growth rate is 3%. Now, why is it important to emphasize on that? Because the examiner is saying that after year 3, meaning if you are going to use year 3 to do any calculations, then the growth rate will apply on the year 3. So from year 3 above, that is where we see the growth rate. Because Kwashi is not here though, but he was calculating growth rates when it was already given in the first one. COINCO currently has a before tax, listen carefully, they currently have a before tax cost of debt of what? 5% per annum. Now, before tax. So before tax KD of 5%. But remember, always KD, what do we need? After tax. So we need after tax KD. That will be the 5%, 1 minus what? The tax. I don't know the tax rate yet, but I'll just write it down. Later when I see the tax rate, I'll inject it in. And equity beta. So we are giving a beta 2 of what? 1.6. On a market basis, the company is currently financed by what? 70% equity, 25% debt. So the capital structure of the company, very important, is 75% equity to what? 25% debt. How did I tell you to treat this thing? How did I tell you to treat this thing? Yes. So now when we are valuing debt and we are valuing equity, because in this question there is no number of shares, we are just giving the capital structure. If they give you the capital structure, what do? That's the value. So it means value of equity is what? 75 million. Value of debt is what? 25 million. Simple. Simple. Next one. During the course of the last 2 years of the company acted to reduce its gearing and was able to redeem a large amount of debt. Since there are now clear signs of economic recovery, Coinco plans to raise further debt in order to modernize some of its non-current assets and to support the expected growth in earnings. This additional debt will mean that the capital structure of the company will change and it will be financed 60% equity, 40% debt on market value basis. Now listen carefully. I told you that the work we will be doing two things. We are told to calculate the existing work. So if we are calculating the existing work, we will use this capital structure. But the new issue means that the new capital structure of the company is now going to be what? 60% equity, 40% what? Debt. That is the second scenario for the work. We go. The before tax cost of debt would increase to 6%. So now the new before tax cost of debt will now be what? 6%. Meaning, and also I say calculating what? The after tax cost of debt. We go. So you see how I am deriving the items from the question. Then the next thing, equity beta is given as what? Will increase to 2. So now the equity beta is 1.6, but under the new finances, it is going to be what? 2. Very important. Very important. Okay, let's go. The risk-free rate of return is 4% per annum, and equity risk premium is what? 5%. So RF is 5%, and then risk premium is RM minus RF. You remember that? That will be what? Also 5%. Okay, this is 4%. This is 4%. Okay, so in order to stimulate economic activity, we good? In order to stimulate economic activity, the government has reduced profit tax rate for all large companies to 20%. 20%. So tax rate, TR, is 20%. I love that. Next one. The current average price earnings ratio of listed companies similar to Coinco is what? So PE ratio has been given for the average for the industry, and Coinco is also listed, so he is part of that. That is what? 5 times. So these are the preambles from the question. These are the preambles. So number 1, he said, estimate the value of the company using the price earnings ratio method and discuss the usefulness of the values that you have used. So what do we do here? What do we do? A, value of Coinco will be the PE ratio times earnings. Now, so what are we told in the question about earnings? Okay. So if you come on and say, how much you to me? Then I won't talk about mommy again, okay? I won't talk about mommy again, okay? You what? You will tell your mommy. Now if you tell your mommy will beat me. She will beat me. Sorry, killer, sorry. Now let's go. So how do we calculate the value of the company? PE ratio has been given to us as what? 5 times. What earnings do you think we use here? We will use year 3's earnings, which is what? Now, why would you use year 3's earnings? Because year 1 is the current year. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Because year 1 is the current year. So why would you use year 3 earnings to do your calculation? Why? Give me an answer. Because the examiner said, discuss the usefulness of the variables that you used. So anything you use, you must explain to the examiner why you used it. What is given is a forecast. Yeah?
It's a forecast.
Mm-hmm. So if it is a forecast, how?
I think it's after year 3 that's everything.
After year 3 that?
The increment, the growth and everything.
But are we considering the growth in this case?
No.
Are we considering the growth? Right, so let's see. So we can use the current earnings, and that will give us how much? 15.
But we are using 3,000.
Yes, I'm coming. The current earning, that will be 15,000, but this is actually 15 million because we are working in 3 zeros in the bracket. Now, is this a fair value for the company? No, because you could see that this earnings here did not take into consideration what? The growth. So if you check, we are told that, like it was here, that after the 3rd year, the profit will be growing at what? 21%, or earnings will be growing at 21%. So what do we do? What do we do? If you go for the 3rd year, does it also include the growth? It will not also consider the growth. So what do you do? What do you do? So what we can do is this. This is what you can do. This is what you can do. You see, you have to do a couple of ranges. So for instance, this is case 1, using the current what? Earnings. Now, assuming you use the average earnings, what will be the average earnings? The average earnings will be 3,000 plus what? 3,600 plus 4,300 divided by 3. What do you have? $3,633,000. So with this one, then the value of the company will be what? 5 times 3, 633. What do I have? 18,000.
166.6.
So 167,000 approximately, right? Now, which of these two do you think actually reflects the value of the company? You see? Which one? The average. The average. Because why is that so? Because as you can see, the average takes into consideration what? The growth effect. Some growth effect. Now, even though the growth of 3% is actually after the 3rd year, before the 3rd year, they are actually what? Having some growth rate. So this actually gives what? A true representation of the thing. But in this question, do you adjust the the figure, as you know we do. Do we adjust the figure and why?
Yes. No, they are listed on the stock exchange.
That's it. That's it.
Joshua, you do mark it.
I marked it for you.
Because
Did you give any explanation?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe because of the explanation you gave.
But I even used year 3.
And you also use year 3. What assumptions did you make before on this company will be using the average earnings? Because the average earnings take into consideration the growth rates.
So it means that it is a forecast. And you are giving years. You have to find the average.
Number 2 or B. It says we should calculate the current cost of equity and using this value, calculate the value of the company using the dividend valuation module. So, what is the current cost of capital of the company? What will be the current cost of capital? Because of the items given, it means the current cost of capital will be the CAM, isn't it? Which is the risk-free rate plus the beta, the return on the market minus the risk-free rate. What is another name for this? Risk premium, which is what was given to us in the question. So let's go. Risk-free rate 4% plus the beta, current beta, then risk premium of 5%. So what do we have?
12%.
Now, how do we get a dividend in this question? Because in year 1, no dividend was paid, right? And these are forecasts. If these are forecasts, that means we have to discount them into what? Present value. So we're going to find, to be able to obtain the value of the company, we're going to find present value of these dividends that were paid by the company. So present value of dividends paid. Now follow me carefully on this. So present value of year 2's dividend will be what? 500. If you are discounting, what will it be? Times 1 over 1.12 exponential by 2, because you are in the second year. Into Benyamin. Let's work in thousands so that we avoid approximations. Okay? Otherwise, we will approximate and it may affect our values. So let's work. What's it?
3988.
3988.